Hi everyone, hopefully you can hear me. Please type into the chat box if you can hear me. Hopefully we're on. Perfect. So welcome everyone to Coaches Across Continent's final webinar of 2016. Thanks very much for joining. My name is Adam Burgess. I am the Sustainability Strategist for Coaches Across Continents. I'm joined by a couple of my colleagues who are available if anything should go wrong, but hopefully we don't have any issues. First of all, this final webinar of the year is on discussing 2016 success stories. Now we're going to use a couple of different examples of sort of success stories as part of Coaches Across Continents work, but we also want to get a lot of feedback and interaction from all of you who are attending the call in terms of what your organisation or yourself has done in 2016 in terms of impact, whether that's in the local community, with children, maybe policy development, new curriculum. There's many different ways of it being impact. And then also in terms of success stories. So we'll be using those two terms kind of interchangeably over the next half an hour or so. And then finally we'll finish with some thoughts on 2017. Hopefully 2016 has been very successful for all of you, and we want to have all of you building on that for 2017 and thinking about exactly how you're going to make sure that that is a successful year for you and for your organization. Okay, so as I said, lots and lots of interaction on this webinar. We want to get all of your input and your feedback on what you have achieved in 2016. So first of all, what do you think of when you hear impact or success story? You can type into the chat box on the right. I'm not going to influence your thoughts too much. But just when you hear the term impact, success story, or just impact story or success story, what is it that you think about in terms of your organization or in terms of your work? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Does anyone have any thoughts? Here we go. Thanks, Oti. Stories from the beneficiaries and implementers. Yep, exactly. So stories from the beneficiaries of how you've worked or what you've worked on with them. Kenny, yep, acceptance of new ideas of solving problems in villages. Okay, so maybe that is something specific to your organization. It could certainly be considered a success story or impact story. Yep, Elvis, a story about success that you want to tell to inspire people or impact. Paula, change of life. Yep, so a success story would be an improvement or a change in someone's life as a result of your work. Or change story, yep. Change someone's lives positively, yep. Perfect. Yeah, this is all great. So there's many different ways or sort of interpretations of an impact success story. Hopefully we'll get to some of them further on. So yeah, it could be program delivery, it could be individual impact, policy development. It could be any number of successes or impacts that you or your organization have achieved with beneficiaries or the population you're hoping to help. The impact story or success story should demonstrate your organization is achieving or attempting to achieve its goals. So that's also very important when considering how you're hoping to plan and meet your goals. The impact story or success story should directly relate to your overall organizational goals, and it should fulfill what you're hoping to achieve. And again, it's very important that it fits with your overall organizational strategy in terms of communications, in terms of branding. It's very easy to try to fit in with what you think someone else wants, or try to fit in with, just providing lots and lots of information. But it's important that each impact story or success story is directly related to what you're hoping to achieve as an overall organization. And we're going to get to some of the reasons for doing this right now. So I'm going to ask you a quick poll. It's about, I'll pull it up now, hopefully you can all see it. What is the most important reason to collect impact or success stories? Now, everyone can have different answers on this. That's no problem at all. So there's a number of different reasons. Hopefully you can see them. Fulfilling grant or funding requirements, to send to potential new funders, to promote your work, the work of you or your organization, demonstrate your ability to, sorry, for some reason it's not showing up for me, to meet your organizational goals, to help to evaluate whether your program has been successful, or to develop and improve your work. So I'll give you everyone a couple of minutes to answer this poll. No right answer. Thanks, Judith. As Judith points out at the bottom there, all of the reasons are crucial. And a lot of times you will need to work on this for all of the reasons. Sometimes it will be specific. Sometimes you might plan to use it for one thing and then find out it becomes very useful for another. So I'm going to present the results. So as you can see, 33.3% help you evaluate the success of your programs. And then we also had high 25% for develop and improve your work, promote your work, whether that's online, social media, various marketing tools. So yeah, absolutely. I like how many of you have gone for the monitoring and evaluation way, in terms of being able to improve your work or find out how successful one project was or one initiative was, and then being able to improve that based on the impact or the success stories that you collect. That's definitely very important, and sometimes that's a much better way of collecting them, rather than just saying we're going to do this to get new funding, or we're going to do it to match a donor. Perfect. Okay, so now I would like all of you guys to feed back into the chat box on the right hand side. Please, if all of you could tell us about at least one success story or impact story for you or your organization in 2016. So this can be small, it can be impact on one person, it can be a success story for a whole team, it can be any number of things. So we'd like all of you to take a couple of minutes and type into the chat box and write about at least one success or impact for you from 2016? Okay, thanks Paul in Cameroon. As you can see in the bottom right, Paul has mentioned the involvement of local leaders has been a massive success story or impact for his organization in 2016. That's great. Always very important, Paul. Thanks, Frederick. Work with schools in promoting quality education. Sounds like you've developed that even further in 2016, which is great. Jitender, yep. No single female coach of us. Now we have more than 20 female coaches. That's great to hear, Jitender. Really well done. Elvis, improvement personally in terms of coaching styles, and in terms of learning about technology in sport, but there are also noticeable changes in the community, Elvis. It would be great if you could tell us more about that. Paul, again, really good success. That's great success as well. Home and away league for girls below 15 years old in Rwanda. Sorry, Paul. I thought it was, yeah, perfect. Francois, yep, involvement of local coaches and leaders. Again, that's really good, really important to have that engagement. And learning new skills to use sport for development for children and women. Hopefully Coaches Across Continents helped a little with that, Francois. Elvis, thanks for that. Mutual respect and conflict prevention. Mumina, conflict resolution through league matches and reduction in drug abuse among youths. That's incredible. Really well done. Getting a lot through now, so sorry if I don't get to all of your points. David, girls soccer team that allow girls to talk about SRH and through sports. That's perfect. Well done. Paula, yeah, thanks for that. Believing in their dreams and then making plans to achieve them. That's great. Often the first step. Charles, yeah, thanks for that. Organise Young Leaders Forum. Giving young people that opportunity is perfect, is really good. Kenny as well, yeah, women and girls from ages of 13 years and 78 years discussing gender issues. Wow, that must be incredible discussions. Wow, this is all great. All really good to hear these 2016 successes and impacts. As always, as you can see from the CAC team's comments in there, we're all really impressed and inspired by what all you guys do. It's incredible, and yeah, obviously can't say enough. So it's really important that all of you guys are sort of promoting these examples and helping it to develop your work, and as we mentioned, using these success and impact stories in the correct way. This is great. Now, in terms of the overall success story that you've mentioned, maybe you could tell us a little bit about why you decided to work on this, or why you decided that this was going to be a focus for you in 2016. And then also, what did you use it for? Did you promote it on social media? Did you change your program as a result of the success? How has it informed your work? We just want all of you to take a couple of minutes and sort of do some thinking about, first of all, why you chose to focus on this in 2016, but then also how you used it and whether you felt it was overall successful and beneficial for your work. Just a couple of sentences. We don't need we don't need two big paragraphs. I know that's a lot of questions. Okay, Jatinder, because my organisation provides me a chance to work with youth development and gender equality. Okay, yep, that's good. Can you tell us a little bit about why that was a specific focus for your organisation? Is that part of the overall organisation strategy? Um, is that something that maybe a funder has said that they want your organisation to focus on? Um, how have you used it? How have you used that afterwards? Charles, yeah, great. Having the forum as a recruitment process, giving young people leadership chances in the teams that we work with. Obviously, that must be a very important thing for your organisation. So you wanted to hold the forum to then be able to give young people the chance to develop. Yeah, absolutely. That's your role in the community. So it makes perfect sense to run that forum. That's perfect. Yep, getting some good feedback now. Really good. Traditional leaders involvement in girls' sport was a great support. It was great support to overcome. Yep. So you decided ahead of time that you wanted to focus on leaders' involvement in girls' soccer, and so that's why you pushed that during 2016 and had those successes. That's perfect. As long as you're thinking why you are doing this and how this fits into your organisation, then that's great. David, collected stories to evaluate our work, and now you've shared them with your community and improved the delivery of our program. That's great. If that's the reason why you want to collect them, that makes a lot of sense. Elvis, exactly. My organisation, I know, in DRC, want to empower women and girls, and this success story was very important to help them have the confidence in themselves. Yeah, so that again. That fits with your organisation strategy. And now you were able to do the work, collect the success story, and now presumably it will inform your future work and how you maybe do something differently or adapt the delivery. Yeah, Kenny, sometimes it's just that you believe that this topic is very important, such as women and girls not being given the chance to express themselves. So if you think that's very important, then that's definitely a good enough reason to do the work and collect the success stories. Perfect. This is all great. The reason why we're asking this follow-up question, thanks Frederick, using it to change the mindset of students, parents, schools, and communities, becoming increasingly popular in the communities and schools. That's ideal. So as a result of your work, you're now able to develop the program even further and increase your reach in the schools. That's perfect. So yeah, all of these are great. The reason why we're asking you to also think about why you collect the impact story and what you used it for is just so we make sure there's an overall strategy in place. As I said, it's very easy to try and do too much or try and send out lots and lots of information. But it seems like all of you are also thinking through the process of why you're doing it, and then after you collect it, what you actually use it for. It's important to have all of that set up before you even go about the overall program delivery. Now we're just going to quickly take you through a couple of example success stories for coaches across continents, both in 2016 and over the past few years. Now I know that all of you have worked with CAC in the past, so you understand our program, you understand what we're trying to achieve with all of our partnerships. First of all, example success story from an organisation. Now I need to say thank you very much to our partner Training for Changes, based in South Africa, who were able to send over these couple of short slides on pretty short notice. And just to give you some background, as you'll see in the following slide, we first partnered with Training for Changes in 2014 when we first launched our Hat Trick Initiative. It built up again in year 2 of the Hat Trick Initiative partnership. So the first year was simply just running the training program in the community, and then working with them on various support year-round in terms of women's rights policies, in terms of monitoring and evaluation, and various other sort of resources and tools that we have available. And then year 2, we were able to build it up after sort of developing a strong partnership in year 1. We had 2 Training for Changes coaches who joined the CAC online education program, which I know that many of you know and are on and maybe want to join in 2017. So we did have 2 of the Training for Changes coaches join us in year 2 alongside the regular training. And then we also had, I believe we may have had a couple of community impact coaches from Training for Changes join us in other programs. I know for sure that some of them have done more traveling and various networking events internationally. And then after that successful second year, we were lucky enough to receive joint funding for our partnership with Training for Changes with an organisation or grant-making organisation called Games for Good Foundation, and they were looking to focus specifically on how to use technology in sport for social impact. And so our partnership with Training for Changes, having grown over the past couple of years, we felt was the perfect example of how we could use it successfully. And so we had we received the grant. During the training in the year 3, when we were actually on site, we launched the Ask for Choice partnership. We also had a focus on technology, and so my colleague Marcus, who I know is on the call, he was able to attend and take many of the Training for Changes participants through Sport Session Planner, our online education system, and help them to be able to learn, adapt, and create new games on the system. I'm not sure if they got that far in just a week, but they were certainly introduced to the platform. And so now you can see, again, in 2017, we hope to have another 2 Training for Changes coaches joining the online education program. So as you can see, this is an example of the full organizational partnership with coaches across continents, integrating technology use into sport for social impact education. We start off relatively small, although it completely fits within our organization strategy. And then over the course of 3 or 4 years, we build it up based on exactly what the local partner is looking for and what is the current trends. And so as a result, we're now able to use this partnership as a really good example of how we initially work with organisations and how it fits into our overall strategy to partner with local organisations in our vision, which I'll come to later. But then also build it so that it works for potential for funding. It then works for our move towards online education and technology. And so it's all part of the overall process, and we're able to promote this on social media and demonstrate how successful partnerships can be, whether we're doing it to promote our work or to improve our work. So see what went right, what went wrong, and then build it up. So this is just an example. This is just one example of an organisation partnership. But then on the other side, we also have an example of an individual who I know is on this webinar today. So thank you very much, Elvis, for providing this information. And just so you're aware, Elvis is one of many. I know we have a few more community impact coaches and participants who have been part of our program for many years. Elvis is a great example, but there's definitely many more, some of whom are on this call as well. But just to give you some background, Elvis was a participant at our programs in Malaika, Democratic Republic of Congo, with Malaika, sorry. He attended the year 1 training, helped us to translate. Thanks, Elvis, because I was there and we definitely needed the help translating. And then in year 2 and 3, he became a community impact coach and actually traveled with coaches across continents to Zambia. Which we know was great having his help there. And then this year as well, he's participated in the online education course, which is a 9-month course, which, as I mentioned, Marcus takes many participants through to help them to learn new games, adapt new games, and create new games, all in our Sports Session Planner platform. I know Elvis has done great work on that. Thanks, Nora. Yep, as I said, there's many more examples like Elvis, so we really appreciate everyone. So yeah, and now as a result, Elvis has told us that he feels more experienced and capable of adapting and creating sport for social impact games using an online technology tool like Sports Session Planner and using the documents on Google Drive. He's learned how to become a better leader, encouraging self-directed learning, and this has therefore led to helped him to cultivate peace in his community and improving his health. So this is just one example. We've had the organization example and also the individual example of how we are able to collect success stories or impact stories, whether that's related to the organization that we're partnering with or even just the individual who is part of one of our programs or part of one of our partnerships, and now we are able to use this. We can identify that, okay, with our Training for Changes partnership, this is what went right, this is how we can change it, you know, if we're developing a new partnership or if we're improving it for 2017. And in the same way, we can look at an individual success story like Elvis or like any of the others that Nora mentioned, like Mulo, Oti, or Paul, in that we can actually use this success story, as long as they're okay with it, which we make sure that Elvis is or someone else is. We can use the success story and impact story and promote it promote the impact of our work, whether that's to build awareness or increase exposure, or it could just be to, again, improve what we're offering to individuals, provide more opportunities and work out how we can continue to improve in the future. So as I mentioned, it fits with both of these examples fit with our overall organizational goals, and that's so important when you're planning your strategy for success stories or for impact stories. As you can see, our vision is envision the day when all governments, municipalities, schools and communities have the skills to use sport as a social impact tool and make the choice to do so. And as you can see from those past examples, our partnership with Training for Changes definitely fits into help allowing or enabling communities and municipalities to have the skills to use sport as a social impact tool, and we've developed both Training for Change's ability, and we've learned a lot from them as well over the past 3 or 4 years. And in the same way, the individual example meets our organisational goals, and we can use it to promote our work and demonstrate the success of our various programmes in the future. And just also going back to Training for Changes, it also helped us to successfully fulfil a foundation grant, which is obviously very important because it allowed us to sustain the work. And we picked up a couple of different case studies during the Training for Changes work, and various other impacts which we were able to provide to the grant maker, which certainly helps us to continue to work with them and make sure that we're fulfilling all that we need to fulfill. Okay, so that's enough of a couple of examples of us. As I said, we have lots and lots more examples, and I apologize to anyone who we didn't focus on specifically, but we have many of them. And we also have some that we need to learn from, we need to improve from. So it's important not to try and claim that all of our partnerships are perfect. So 2017, building success and impact stories. So I'm sure that all of you are beginning to think about 2017, and you're beginning to think, how can you improve exposure for your work or your organization? How can you maybe get more funding or fulfill any funding that you're currently receiving? And then I'm sure you're looking for different resources and tools to help you to better do your work. But first of all, as I've continued to stress, it's important to decide internally within your organization or within your fellow participants or teammates or whoever it might be, to discuss why. Why are we putting together these success and impact stories? How is it going to be used? These kind of questions are very important, so that you don't just end up, doing some work and putting together some stuff, but not really knowing exactly how you're going to use it. It saves everyone time, and hopefully it means you're a lot more effective and efficient in your work. So, over to you. Do you have some plans or strategies to collect impact or success stories in 2017? I'm quickly going to ask you another poll question. Do you or your organization have plans to collect impact or success stories in 2017? I have a feeling I know where this might go. Okay, I'm going to present the result. I'm not sure if you might be surprised by it. Hopefully you can all see the result of that poll. We have almost 85% saying yes, they have plans to collect impact or success stories, and 15% saying no. So I'm not sure if that's you just don't have plans yet, but you hope to be able to do it, or whether you maybe just don't feel like it's necessary. And if for your work or for your organization, if it's not necessary to collect impact or success stories, then that's obviously completely fine. So, please, great from Paul, already jumping ahead. Could everyone, if you answered yes to that question, I guess I should phrase it, could you please tell us one planned impact or success story you hope to achieve in 2017? So what is one impact goal for you or your organization in 2017, and why? Why, as I mentioned above, why are you aiming to achieve that? And why is that going to be a focus for your work in 2017? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Okay, we're getting some answers through. Paula, convincing other community centres about the power sport has in relation to social impact. Yep, that's great, really important. Way to stay alive in this purpose. That's great. Sorry, I'm getting some more through. Yeah, I completely agree, Jatinder. Plenty of work still to be done. Elvis, empowering girls to become coaches, gender equity empowerment. Yep, that's great, definitely. So that's one planned impact for 2017. Pedro hasn't been thought in depth about its importance. Okay. Do you plan on thinking about it in more depth about or is that something that's maybe low down on your priorities? Charles, plans to collect most significant stories from our participants, help in program planning and improving. That would be great. Yep. Maybe we should have Opal on the call, Charles. Yep, that's great. And so you definitely plan to continue collecting those success stories. Paul, yep, I completely agree. Become sustainable when all get involved, understand and own it, and that's so important. So hopefully maybe one of your impacts or aims for 2017 can be to get more and more people involved, make it more sustainable. Yep, enlist decision maker support for sport as social impact tools. That would be very important, Paul, if you can get that in 2017. Sorry, lots more coming in. So again, I apologise if I don't get to one of your points. David, ensure at least every participant plants a tree in their primary school life. Yeah, that's a great success. And then if you are able to do that work, what would you then do with that information? Would you use it to promote your work? Would you use it to try and improve and do even more the following year? Get more girls to play soccer and attend school. More female coaches, Charles, great. Female CIC, yeah, definitely a good idea, David. Yep, Pedro, yeah, completely agree. Not a priority right now, but we need to reflect if we want to change that. More jobs for youth, Frederick. Yeah, that'd be a really important success story or impact story, and that can also then relate to promoting awareness of your organisation and then networking with more organisations who might be able to help you in the future. Yeah, these are all great. So what we want you to think about is you have all of these big goals and all of these big this big strategy for doing great work in 2017, then collecting information about your great work or success stories about your great work, but then also think about what you're going to do with it. How does that fit into your organization strategy? Once you've then finished collecting the stories, what are you going to do with the stories? Don't just collect a lot of information and then just sort of discard it or not use it effectively. So it's very important that when we go out and do this work, we don't just do it without an overall plan. That's sort of very, very important. Frederick, developing website, yeah, that should definitely be helpful. And of course, if you want to promote your successes, tell coaches across continents. We are here. We are here to help spread awareness of your work, all of your work in the community with organizations, any success stories or impact stories. Tell us all. I know some of you were sent a specific Google form question recently regarding the CAC curriculum, and I thank you if you replied and answered the question. What we're hoping to do is for 2017 is to actually have a link to a Google form where you can tell us about your impact or success stories within the Google form. So it would be very short, 5 or 6 questions asking what you did with your work, what was the success, what was the impact of the work, how has this informed your future delivery, and if you have any pictures, we'll also ask you for some pictures. Good to see you, Obo. So yeah, if you have any, what we'd like is, if you are interested for 2017, we will send you this link, and we'd like all of you to, anytime you have success, fill in the form, and it will allow us to spread more awareness of all of you guys' work, because that's one of the reasons why we develop these partnerships, to build up the network and build up your work. So please just type a yes or a no into the chat box if you would be willing to fill in this Google form. It wouldn't have to be too often, once a month, once every few months. That would be totally fine. We always love to hear about your work. Just waiting for the no. There we go. Great, thank you. Okay, just got one more slide after this, but if you have any questions on collecting impact stories or success stories, please type them into the chat box now. If you have any questions about how you can fit that into your overall organizational strategy, or reasons for collecting them, or maybe, Pedro, you just need to reflect more on why you want to do it. You can, if you don't have any questions, you can also email us following the webinar on anything regarding this topic. Okay. I think I'm going to move on. Frederick, just how can you enable us to realize these successes? So it really depends on what you're hoping to achieve, Frederick, from your successes. If you are collecting these success or impact stories to promote awareness of your work, then we can absolutely help you to share on social media, to provide any help for you in promoting. Or if you're hoping to do it to help to develop your delivery or improve exactly what you're offering, then we can absolutely provide feedback on your impact or success story. Maybe you put together, a short one-page document about exactly what you're sharing, and then you can ask us, how does this look? Is this something that you think is sort of laid out in the correct way? And so we can absolutely provide feedback on that, and then also on how to sort of improve your own programs and your own initiatives. We can provide advice. Obviously, your community, and exactly what works best for you in much more detail than we do. But we're certainly here to provide advice on how to improve your delivery. All you need to do is just get in contact. Absolutely, Frederick. All you need to do is just get in contact with us, and we're more than willing to help you out with that. And again, if it's something where you're sending it to a grant maker, then we can certainly sort of look through it and make sure it looks good, providing we also have their requirements for what they're looking for. So in any of the reasons why, we can certainly help you to develop that. I'm gonna leave the story of Marcus Bench. I think we've all covered it enough. It looks like Marcus is doing it anyway. Yeah, Frederick, absolutely. Recommendation of references to grant makers. We're more than happy to help you with that. Whether that's with us recommending groups that you could apply to, or maybe you find a group and you want to apply with Coaches Across Continents, we're more than happy to work with you on an application like that. Just send it over to us. We can look at it in more detail. We're happy to set up individual calls as well, if that would be helpful. I'm going to ignore that, Jitender. He might be a role model for you, but Opa, what is the ideal time in the program cycle? Was it recommended to collect stories? Should it be continuous? I think it really depends what the grant maker or the funder might be looking for. Assuming you're talking about funding specifically, you know, I think that they might have a specific time. They might want updates every few weeks. If it's just for you to improve your program, I would say continuous is probably best. I think that it's good to collect sort of short-term impact stories, but then also long-term impact stories. So maybe the short-term thing includes numbers, changes in knowledge, shorter things. But then maybe the long-term stories would be, okay, we've had this person in our program for 3 years, we've had this child in our program for 3 years, and then at the end of 3 years, look how much they've changed. Maybe they help to deliver the program now, maybe they've become much more of a leader. And so those are sort of longer term collection of stories which would potentially take years. So I think it's important to have both. I mean, I know that for you guys, you maybe run programs in schools for 10 weeks. And so probably at the end of every 10 weeks, you want to have a couple of success stories or impact stories to be able to promote, but then also to be able to get an understanding for what could be improved when the next 10-week cycle comes around. So I think it really depends on exactly how you're going to use it, whether that's short term or long term. I'm getting sick of this praise from Marcus. Sorry, I might have to end this in just a second. Okay, Pedro, is there an organization that has compiled these success stories and posted it on their website or perhaps in a book? I'm not 100% sure on that, Pedro. If you could get in contact with us after the webinar, we'll certainly sort of look into that and we'll ask around. I'm sure there's sort of model examples of success stories or how to compile them on blogs, on websites. I'm sure there are examples. It's just having to find the right ones. And again, while there may be sort of, this is a model example of a success story, and you know, after 1 year this happened, after 2 years this happened, and after 5 years, you know, they were president. You know, I'm sure there's those examples. It's just, it might make more sense for, it might not make sense for your organization. So while there will be model examples, you will also have to be flexible. Frederick, what's the difference between a webinar and Skype? Not sure if this relates directly to this topic, but for a webinar, it's generally one person speaking or a couple of people speaking with input from the group in the chat box, similar to this. And then on Skype, hopefully everyone can talk, and it can be more of a vocal discussion between the group. Again, though, the reason why we prefer to use webinars than just a Skype call for these calls is simply because that sometimes internet connection is poor, sometimes people will be talking over each other, sometimes there's sound in the background, and this allows us to present polls and various other documents fairly simply. So that's why we use webinars for this. Okay, thank you for the questions. I'm going to quickly move on to the final slide to wrap up. First of all, I know Marcus wanted me to mention that for some of you who are on the online education program course, there is a webinar for that tomorrow It will take place 2 hours prior to this one, so 7 a.m. my time, which is Eastern time, and that is 12 p.m. GMT. So just if you're on the webinar right now, just to be aware that there is an online education course call tomorrow. And as ever, we are available for if you want any tools or resources from Coaches Across Continents. We are here to help. We want to help you. We want to help your work and your organization. So please reach out to us. Please ask us questions. We are here to help. We want to be for you. We want to be with you year round. We don't just want to be a group that comes in and works for a week. So please use our resources. Please contact us at any time. You have email addresses, various other things. We will definitely be returning with more as part of the virtual learning community in 2017. We want to hear from you. If you have any topics or specific things you'd like to see discussed, please email us. And again, if you have any colleagues or friends who would like to be part of these webinars, send over their email details. We would like anyone who's interested is more than welcome to join us. Quickly as well, Thursday, that's 2 days, 2 days away, is World AIDS Day. And now hopefully with the email invite that you got, you also received our resource packet and video. So please go to the link on the webinar. You can actually go to that link and watch a short video about World AIDS Day and about how you can run activities with CAC using sport on World AIDS Day. So we certainly hope that some of you at least will run activities, whether that's on Thursday or maybe on the weekend, using our resource packet. And if you do, please again share with us. Tell us the stories. Send us the photos. We always want to hear about what you're doing on these event days. So tell us about what you're doing for World AIDS Day, and we want to hear about it. And yeah, hopefully some of you are doing some things. And finally, from the whole CAC team, thanks very much to everyone who joined or participated in a webinar in 2016. Talking about success stories, this has definitely been one of ours. We have got so much information, and it's really helped for some of our partners to connect with each other. So thank you very much to everyone who took part. I hope you enjoy the rest of your 2016. This is our final webinar for 2016. We will be back in probably mid to late January 2017. So we hope to see everyone then in the new year. But yeah, hope everyone enjoys the rest of their year, and we thank you all again. Okay, I'm going to end it there. So thank you very much to everyone who was on this webinar, and we will speak soon. Again, any questions, reach out, let us know. We're happy to follow up on any of the topics discussed in this call. Thank you very much. Bye.